What's up, everybody? It's been a while since I've made a video, and I just couldn't wait any longer because Lisa and I started windsurf wave foiling this year, and it has been freaking awesome. So I had to make a video about it just to give you a little bit of background in case you don't know Lisa and I. We've been windsurfing about 10 years, and the last 2 years our quiver primarily consisted of 85-liter free wave board and wave sails from 5.3 down to 2.7 meters. That's been our quiver. It's been great. We get about 65 to 80 sessions a year on that, but we've had to drive. We've had to really study the forecast and be willing to drive an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, or even an hour 45 minutes to get a session on that gear, because you're limited to winds that's at least 20 miles an hour or more. And so we were intrigued by windsurf foiling. But we were watching some of the local guys, and a lot of them were sort of struggling. It looked a lot harder than the pros made it look like in the promotional videos. But I was still intrigued by it. And some of the kite surfers were doing pretty well with the foil. But even they said, you know, we bought all the wrong gear in the beginning. We bought front wings for our foils that were too small. And so they started going to larger wings. The windsurfers locally hadn't really caught on to that yet, because the manufacturers were still sort of promoting these smaller size foil wings for windsurfing, because they were gearing it more towards free ride foiling, not really specific to surfing foils on waves with a windsurfing sail, which is what we were kind of intrigued by, but we couldn't find anybody who was doing it. A buddy of ours was using the foils behind the jet ski on sub foil boards, and he got the whole array of wings. He got the 800, the 1200, the 1600, the 2000 square centimeter wings, and he even built a big freaking wing out of fiberglass and foam. I don't know how big it was, but he could get pulled on the jet ski and foil it going like 4 miles an hour. So I was talking to him, and he's like, you know, these big wings are really the way to go. You don't have to go that fast. You get lots of lift. It's much easier to learn on. He was starting to use these wings for kiteboarding, kite foiling, and it was, you know, working out really, really well for him. So I started looking on the internet and trying to find somebody who had gear for what I wanted to do. What we wanted to do was to ride small sails, windsurfing sails, on a foil board with a big front wing where we didn't have to go that fast, and we could maybe play around in the waves a little bit. So last November, I found this guy on just on the internet. I was surfing around the web, and his name's Casey Treichler, and it turns out he lives right here in the same city I do, and he's on Lake Erie on the other side of the lake, because he has a cottage on the other side of the lake, and he's doing what he calls windsurf wave foiling. Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want. This is what I need. So I call him up, and he said, yeah, come on over, I'll show you the boards. And it just sounded perfect. Lisa and I were a little worried about windsurf foiling because we didn't want to get hurt. We didn't want to land on the foil. We didn't want to go real fast. We just wanted to use small sails, go slow, play on some waves. And this is exactly what Casey explained to us. He designed this board. This is his Top Gun series. He calls this board the Iceman. And of course I had to buy a matching t-shirt, Iceman, from the movie Top Gun. And this board is 120 liters, 7 foot long. It's a modified sup foil board, basically very little rocker. Well, it's got a little rocker in the nose, which is great because it catches you if you're coming down off the foil and you don't get stuck into the water. It's got a tail here, which helps you a lot with uphauling because you got that extra float. But then when you're riding, you don't see the tail because you're standing up here and the tail's behind you, so you feel like you're on a 5 foot 10-inch board instead of a 7 foot board because you got 14 inches of tail behind you. Now what we did is Casey said, you know, he pairs this up with the GoFoil. So I said, okay, well, if you're using the GoFoil, then that's what I'm going to use, because he built this with a deep tuttle box. So we got the GoFoil 29.5-inch mast. All you got is 2 screws. That's it, 2 bolts. You don't have to mess around with the 4 bolts of the US box. This is so easy, it's just plug and play. Casey said you want to pair that up with the GoFoil 200. This is a pretty good sized wing. I think it's 1,922 square centimeters. And then you match that with the Maliko tail, and you're going to have a really, really nice balanced foil. And that's what we did. And I said, well, can we use this with our regular wave sails? He said, absolutely. We've been using mostly 4.7, 3.7, and 2.7 as these Zetas. Sometimes we'll mix in our 4.2 or a 3.3 or something like that. But mostly 4.7, 3.7, and 2.7. And we're using the 4.7 when everybody else is on 8.5. We're using the 3.7 when everybody else is on 6.5. And we're using the 2.7 when everybody else is on somewhere between 4.7 and 5.3 they're on. Then we're on to 2.7. And it's just been perfect. So to give you an example, take this out in Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, when it's blowing 15 to 20-ish, and you got 2 to 3 foot rolling swell maybe, and you just get in this surfing stance like this, and you take the windsurfing sail, you let go at the backhand, and you flag it out in front of you, and you're surfing. You can do cutbacks, you can go upwind like crazy when you want to get back up and ride some more waves, and you can just play all day long. You don't have to go fast, you don't have to worry about big hard crashes because you're going pretty slow. The waves have gotten so much more fun. Now don't get me wrong, I still love 35 to 40 miles an hour on a 3.3 out an 8 to 10 foot swell and 5 to 6 foot breaking waves on Lake Erie. That's hard to replace. But foiling in 15 to 20 miles an hour is as much fun as 35 to 40 mile an hour wind. You wouldn't think it is until you try it, but you gotta try this stuff, guys. If you're looking for something to supplement your wave sailing, if you don't like riding big sails, I hate big sails. 5.3, I don't even like the 5.3. 5 meters is better. If you don't like big sails, you really gotta try some windsurf wave foiling. A 3.7 feels so small, and you're in 20 mile an hour wind, your buddies are on 6.5, and you're riding waves all day long because you can just bolt upwind twice as steep of an angle as your buddies that are on fins, because you have this 29.5-inch mast that you can use as a keel, and it just drives you right upwind, and then you get another set of long wave rides on the way back. So anyways, I had to make a video about this. It's just been too much fun to keep quiet. So I hope you get out there and try it. Because first time I tried it was in Florida. We talked to Casey in November of 2019. Right now it's August of 2020. But in February of 2020, I went to Florida to visit some family. And I looked up online, where could I rent some foil gear while I'm down there? So I met this guy, Britt Veeman. He owns North Beach Windsurfing. And I called him up. I said, Britt, I want to be down there. Can we meet? So we met in this super cool spot right off the expressway. It's kind of cool in Florida because there's a lot of water access. So as I pull off the expressway and right down the scenic viewing area, and Britt pulls up in his trailer, and he's like, hey, here we go. Let's put some gear together. We're going to get you out there on a foil right away. I'm like, awesome. So I think he gave me like a 4.8 meter sail and a pretty good sized wing. I said, that's what I want. I want the biggest wing you got. And he said, yeah, like, buddy of mine was just out there yesterday on a 5.3 and a wing about this size. It was a different brand, but he said, yeah, let's put you on that. And sure enough, got out there. First day, you get up, and then you come down, and you get up, and you come down. And then we did a second day. And on the second day, I think I was on a 4.2, and maybe it was blowing 18 miles an hour, and I'm getting 10 to 20 second rides. Falling in here and there, but not bad. And then we got on this gear when the season started here in Buffalo, the end of April, beginning of May, and we just haven't looked back. I think I've gotten about 30 sessions so far on this gear, and it's just been a blast. All you windsurfers, all you kite surfers who started foiling 3 to 4 years ago, you guys are my heroes. Because you worked out all this stuff, and Lisa and I just had to plug and play. Lisa and I just had to get the gear, plug it in, and go play. So thanks to everybody. It's been a great adventure. Hang loose. Over now.